Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar on how to integrate LawPay with TimeSolv so you can get paid faster. Today, Raza Hassan, CEO of TimeSolv, and LawPay's Janelle Benefield will walk you through the process of how to set up LawPay within TimeSolv and show you the client portal and how clients can easily make credit card payments. So let's join Raza as he introduces the agenda for today's webinar.
I'm going to do a demo and then answer your questions. And then as part of the demo, I'll be switching over to Janelle. I hope we don't have any trouble with the technical stuff here, but we'll hopefully make it happen. So my goal is to show you how you go from time tracking all the way to collecting payments. So, within hopefully 60 seconds or less. So you're on the time entry, you make a time entry, and you pick a particular client that is already set up for your portal payments, and then you can say, okay, I worked 2 hours, and then you put some notes here using the abbreviations, and you can save, and you have made time entry. So I'm going to just keep it simple. Everybody, I believe, knows about this process. Then you go down to the invoices part, and then you say new draft invoices, and you pick that particular client where I just made the time entry. You go ahead and create the draft invoice. I won't go into the reviewing of the invoice, but I guess I just want to send it through email, and I just say send, and it says okay. So when I just did this, TimeSolv sent an email to the client with the link. And since the email takes a second, I'm going to just review how you do the retainer or if you need to ask for money for trust account or retainer, you can always do that. So the title here can be changed. You can change that from retainer to trust if you want. You can put whatever, or you can even say, deposit. Okay, and then you pick that client and matter. You can now put in some kind of number if you want. This information is not recorded like invoices, but you can still use it to pay, to collect money from your clients. And then okay, and notice that at the bottom, if you have that client set up for the trust payment, it shows you that. Okay, so you just create that, and then that sends out the retainer invoice. All right. So now I have created a couple of invoices. Now I'm going to go to my email. I hope I don't have any confidential information here, but I'm going to just do a send receive on my Outlook here.
Inbox.
Okay, sorry, I got a lot of emails. I gotta just find out. Just do one more.
You're busy.
I guess, which is a good thing. Only thing I don't see is my.
You're in the inbox.
Okay. Oh, right here. Sorry, I don't know why I can't see. It was right here. Okay, so here is that email that will go out. Let me just make this email. Okay. So this is that email we just, created, and then the client can click on this link here, which says view and pay invoice, and that invoice was just created, and it's loading up. So the client can view the invoice at the bottom of the page if they want to. Again, this is nothing new here, so I won't talk much about that. But all they got to do here is click on pay, and then they can say they can pay by credit card or by bank account, and I'll just use the credit card. And then I'm going to use a dummy credit card number. Sorry, I gotta pull that up here. It's not something I can remember, but I gotta cheat and look for it. Okay, so I put in my credit card information, and then I put in an expiration, and this is just a dummy card number, so don't go shopping with this number. Okay, and then I go submit payment, and it says payment authorized successfully. All right. So this is the whole process from time entry, invoice creation to the delivery. I'm getting some feedback. I don't know if other people can hear. Please, you can maybe mute for the person who just joined us recently. It'd be great. All right. So the invoice has been paid. Just, so if I'm a client, I need to look at what else is going on. I can look at payment and payment history. So this is all the information that is about payment. This is that invoice we just paid. Actually, it'll be this one because it's sorted in a different way. All right, and then we can look at invoices that we collected. So this is that invoice. This is showing us unpaid invoices because we want client to see the unpaid invoices and pay the invoices. And just so you know, client can select as many invoices as they like, and then they can click on pay, and then they can also make partial payments by changing some of these amounts and clicking on pay. They can look at the time entries, they can look at the expense entries. As part of this, they can also see the WIP amount so they know what has not been billed yet. All right, so this is on the client portal side. At this point, I'm going to switch over to Janelle, and she can talk about what it looks like on the LawPay side.
Perfect. That sounds great.
Okay, great. So let me just make sure it all. Okay, Janelle, you can take it from there. And
Perfect. And can you guys see my screen yet?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. So what we've switched into now is the LawPay portal, or our admin area. And so this is our dashboard. What you're viewing here at the top are transaction volume reports and payment type reports. So it's a little bit of a snapshot of what you have taken in on either credit cards or debit cards. And so you have the ability, now that that payment's been received and it's been successfully processed through TimeSolv, you have some options for viewing that transaction on our side. I'm just going to click refresh to see if we can see that new test sale come through. And so now we see that Amex charge that we just ran coming through on our system showing as authorized. And we can see over here on the right-hand side that payment source is coming in from the API from TimeSolv. So that means someone went out to your website utilizing TimeSolv Invoicing and made that payment. From this screen, you can click on that transaction, and you have some options over here on the right-hand side of your screen. This is an example of what our invoicing looks like on the LawPay side. This is an email receipt that can go to you in your office and also can go to the cardholder so that they have confirmation that payment has been made and that is completed. Once that payment is on our system, you have the option to void a transaction if it was a mistake. Typically, we don't see folks doing that a lot, but there could be an occasion where maybe there was a typo or a data entry error. You can issue refunds once we have that credit card information stored on our system. And our system does have some fail-safes in place to protect you. You can give a partial refund back to a client, but you can only refund up to the original sale amount. So you can see we have some help text over here to the side that says the total refundable balance is $600. So you're not going to be able to refund more than that, but you can certainly enter in any dollar amount and submit a refund, giving money back to the cardholder. And the way we see that used for attorneys, if they're paying back any unused retainer or trust funds. Another option on the system is you can recharge the client's credit card. Now, it won't be tied to an invoice, but you do have the credit card number now stored on the LawPay side. And so if they say, okay, go ahead and charge me for, that additional work, you can come into our system and rerun that credit card transaction. And we store credit card numbers for 6 months after the sale has come in on the system. And another feature that I want to take a moment and really kind of run through what the steps are is again, once a payment is received in on our system, we do have the ability to make that a recurring charge. So if you wanted to create a payment plan for your clients, let's say, they owe $1,000, you want to collect 2 more payments so you can reach that $1,000 balance, you can come in here and select, a description. Maybe it's the Smith trial balance. You can change this dollar amount to 200, and you can set the first charge to possibly happen, let's say October 1st. And you want this payment plan to continue maybe every month, every week, every 2 weeks until a total is paid. And maybe we say that's $1,000 in our scenario. And then you can come in here and you can direct which account that should be linked to, whether it's your operating or your trust account. You've got the credit card information in there. You can update the expiration date if you need to. And then, of course, the client address information and name and all that good information can then be entered in. This would be pre-populated if this wasn't a test card that we were utilizing. And then you would just come down here and click Save. And you could add a recurring payment schedule. So our system would automatically bill that client until their balance was paid off. And so one of the things we're hoping is to give you a lot of tools for collecting payments, either on credit cards, but also debit and check cards. We want to make it as easy for your clients to make payments to you as possible. And so I think the recurring option is interesting, along with being able to recharge clients once the payment's been received on our system. You can also easily resend receipts if you need to. Maybe they didn't get their confirmation email or it needs to be directed to a different email address. You can come into our portal and you have the option to do that. And also your admins can come in and review and reprint receipts as well. And so we're very excited for this integration because I think it makes it so much easier for clients to go ahead and make payments, and they have the ability to log into the TimeSolv system and they can pay multiple invoices. Or once they've submitted a payment, you have options as well on the LawPay side to recharge those clients and create recurring billing profiles to make sure that that money is being collected, and you're doing that in a very efficient way, and able to send out correspondence to the clients, letting them know that those payments have been received. All right. Do you want me to pass that control back to you now,
Yes, please.
Raza? Okay. We'll open it up at the end for question and answer, right?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yep, I'm going to just do a quick recap once I get the control back of this presentation.
Perfect.
And okay, and just to make sure, can you folks see my screen now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
perfect. All right, thanks. So at this point, again, I think just in the interest of time, we just have shown you how easy it is to create an invoice and send it out for collecting payments. And the recap here, so I'm just going to remove some things here which are showing up. So you can collect payments, have the payments be sent to your operating account or to your trust account, and collect recurring payments. I believe if you do a refund, that refund also gets adjusted back into TimeSolv. Only thing is there is a bit of a delay because I think some of the refunds take a little bit of time to process, if I'm not mistaken. Janelle, if you want to clarify that.
Yeah, so refunds normally, so approvals and authorizations on credit cards happen very quickly, which is the great news. Typically, when you run a credit card online, like you've seen, we know in 3 to 5 seconds whether the funds are available, and we generate that approval code to put that money on hold. When you are processing a refund, it does take 2 to 3 business days to send that money back through the banking networks. It does not move quite as quickly. And so, the systems are really designed to approve and process payments. But again, they still go back in 2 to 3 days, so your client should see them fairly soon. It just won't be that immediate 5-second approval that you see, which is how a sale or a transaction is normally handled.
Okay, great. And then from the client's side, it is enabling them to do self-service. They can view invoices, they can pay invoices, they can look at the payment history, they can pay and deposit money into the trust. We will be providing the ability to see the balance sometime later this week, and they can also see the work in progress or unbilled entries. At this point, I guess we are just asking you that if you have any questions, please let us know. We will be happy to take any questions at this time.
Well, and as you're maybe collecting some questions, I'll just step in for a moment. We want to invite the TimeSolv clients for a 3-month free trial on the LawPay system, where we waive the monthly program fee. And part of our reasoning behind doing that is we'd like to encourage the TimeSolv clients to get a LawPay account, begin the steps of integrating the two systems, try out sending out some invoices to your clients, adding that capability, possibly using our payment pages in order to see if this is a good program or a good fit for your clients. And so we're extending that offer until October 15th. And of course, we want to offer competitive pricing for the TimeSolv customers. So if you have any questions, please feel free to call into our office number, which is 863-760-0950, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have regarding the integration.
Yep, and the phone number is on the LawPay website also. I think as we are kind of waiting for any questions, another thing I would like to add to the mix here for the benefit of the attendees. On the TimeSolv support side, we have all the information on enabling payments and configuring the portal. So if you forget anything that we discussed today, you can always go in here and look at the online information on how to set things up. It is relatively simple, but if you need help after you look at it, we are always happy to hear from you and help you set things up. One other thing I would like to share from my own experience working with LawPay and a large law firm that we have engaged with LawPay and TimeSolv for credit card processing is that if you're paying a certain amount for your credit card processing, my experience has been, I can't guarantee this, but LawPay has been very competitive, and they can provide you with a customized quote and review your current credit card statement. And I guess in the case I dealt with, they were able to match it. So just there is no extra. Hopefully, pricing would be something that'll make a lot of sense to you. Any other questions at this time?
I have questions. Do I just say it or type it or what?
No, yeah, just talk. That's fine.
Okay. So when the client sees their account in TimeSolv, is there a way to not show them work in process, but just let them see what their billing has been, but not show them what's going on?
That is absolutely available. So you can, good question. So quick review of the question. Can you enable and disable the time and expense part of it? Yes, you can.
No, the work in process.
Yeah, the work in process also. Yes, you can,
Okay.
Disable that.
Okay.
Where at?
Okay, so the question is where at? Let me go back, and I'll have to log out. I'll do that right now. And sorry, I guess. Okay, so I'm just showing where you disable the ability to show here. See, it says visibility on the bottom, client portal. You can say all entries, billed entries are not visible.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. What if when a client is trying to make a payment or do something online when they're in TimeSolv, they have problems with it. Is there a number for them? Are they going to be calling TimeSolv? Are they going to be calling us to try to figure out how to navigate TimeSolv? I mean, how does that work?
Okay, so question is, what happens when your client is trying to pay and they're running into any issues? They can always call TimeSolv if they need help. We'd be happy to help. And as you know, yeah, I mean, we're here to help. And I guess if you like, this is a good idea. We had not thought about it, but we can add something on the portal that if they run into trouble, they can contact us, in processing their payment.
Yeah, I think that's important because otherwise, we don't want it to turn into an administrative nightmare where they're having problems and all of a sudden we're like having to field calls like, hey, I'm trying to do this on TimeSolv and I don't, that could be a problem.
Yep. And again, we'll definitely be happy to do that. I guess just as you can see on my screen, the goal here is that, they can easily pay an invoice without having to put in too much effort. So, but good question, good idea. All right, what else?
I have another one. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I missed the first 10 minutes of the seminar. Is there anywhere that I can go back and look at it, or did I just miss that?
Okay, no, we will, we have a recording. Instead of sending the recording to everyone, unless you, please send us an email, or actually maybe we will just send this recording to all the attendees, and you can review it and, share it with your colleagues.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Somebody had a question?
When a client makes a payment, then online, is it automatically allocated in TimeSolv?
Right. So there are two things happening. One, the option I showed you, where I sent out a specific invoice. When they pay the invoice, the money is already allocated to the invoice. Okay. So you don't have to do the allocation or anything like that. If somebody makes a payment and they're just doing like a retainer or trust deposit, then it will be showing up as, a deposit which is not allocated, and it will be, it will require the law firm to allocate the payment. But if you're sending out an invoice, it is automatically allocated.
If we generally, when we have clients that maybe are a little bit behind or we're kind of taking payments on account, we generally will apply that to the oldest bill. Is there a way to, force a client to pay the oldest bill first?
Okay, so the question is if we can force a client to pay the oldest bill first. One option I would say is, again, I'm assuming if a client is not paying bills on time, then they're not very motivated to pay. And I would say that, when you are in TimeSolv, you can always resend an invoice. So maybe if you want to have the oldest invoice paid first, I guess maybe you'll have to, in TimeSolv, you can always resend an invoice. I'm assuming, let me just go there. What you would do there is, sorry, and I apologize, it keeps going to this other account here.
Kind of like if they overpay, where does that money go if they have 3 more out there?
Okay, so one scenario, let's look at the invoices that, we just created this. So one option you have is, see, it is showing paid because we just, the client paid. And if I put my mouse on this, it shows, okay, this payment was received by credit card at, 1:07 p.m. Central Time. Now, if you have an invoice that has not been paid, you can always pick that particular invoice and click on resend, and the client would get an email saying, please click here to pay. So in terms of having them to pay the oldest invoice, I would say that's the only way I can think of right now. That's not something we are addressing in terms of which order, but as a law firm, you can say pay this invoice just by manually sending it out. Okay, I think the other question was, what if somebody overpays? One thing I believe, and I guess I have not tested this part, is that when you're on the portal and you're paying an invoice, it automatically fills out the amount for that invoice. Let me just go back there. And so when they, sorry, this invoice has already been paid, so it's not giving me the option to pay, but I'm going to just pick something that's not paid yet. So if I pick this, oh, sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. I clicked on the to view. Okay, when I click on pay, I mean, it automatically says $940. I mean, the client, I believe, I have not tested this. They can put in more money, but you'd be pretty lucky if a client wants to pay you more than what's owed.
Let's put it in there because they have before.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you're
Let's see where
saying
the money
everything, they have to allocate it. We do not allocate, they do.
Yeah, so, okay, I put in more amount, and I guess I did not know this, but it says you're paying more than the amount due. Please reduce amount or ignore this warning. I mean, they can pay you, and I believe
Ignore
when
the
they...
warning. Let's see where it goes.
Okay, all right, you guys are pushing.
Well, it happens, is why it does happen.
Okay, so I'm going to see. I believe then you should have some unallocated funds. I mean, that's not something I have ever looked at, but tested. But hopefully we can figure this out. Okay, so the payment has been processed now. All right, so $1,000. I guess I'm going to go look at the payment history and see what happens.
Here it
I'm
is.
sorry, it sometimes takes. Let me just make sure I got.
No, it's right there.
It's there.
Okay, it's right there, the 929.
In the middle.
Yep. So it's showing me $1,000. Oh, and the allocated amount is 940. Okay.
Can you maybe
Now,
pull up an invoice?
Yeah. Oh, do you want me to, or should I go back and
Well,
show
how-
you that that additional?
What is it going to look like on the TimeSolv?
Okay, on the TimeSolv side, let's go back there. I'm going to get out of the portal, and I believe once you, just so you know, if you log into two accounts from the same browser, I believe it doesn't let you. It'll give you a little warning that it can't handle that.
While you're trying to get back to that, can you tell me whether the pay from bank account is through LawPay and that we're paying a merchant fee on that, or is that without a merchant fee and not through LawPay?
I guess maybe you can talk to that, Janelle.
Any credit card transactions or debit card transactions that go through LawPay, we deposit the funds into your checking account in 24 to 48 hours. Those will be assessed a processing fee. We make those deposits.
I was asking about the ability to pay by bank account as opposed to credit card.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I guess the question is there a transaction fee when somebody's paying with their checking account? And I guess the answer is yes, but it is going to be, I think, Janelle, is it just per transaction or is it related to the amount also?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood the question. So I thought we were allocating to a checking account.
No. If someone's paying through their bank account rather than a card, is that a LawPay transaction?
It is. It's considered an online check, so it's going through the banking network rather than going through Visa, MasterCard. But there are still fees assessed with running the transaction through the ACH network, and it's 1% of the whatever the transaction amount is, along with a 20-cent transaction fee.
Okay.
So it's lower, but the deposits will take 5 business days on the ACH or the online check side. So online checks run a little bit slower compared to Visa, MasterCard. And, there's definitely a difference in the funding time frame, but you can certainly do both.
All right, so I hope that answers the question. I'm going to go back and talk about that $1,000 payment, which was an overpayment on an invoice. And as you can see here, we it's showing you that $1,000 were paid on a particular invoice. I can put my mouse here, and it was paid on this, I guess, invoice, and it's invoice 1501, and it's showing that we have funds available, which is $60. So you can take this $60 and apply it to any other invoice if you needed to. Okay, did I answer that question regarding overpayment?
Can you get into the allocate for that overflow payment? I'm sorry, that was the question.
What?
Okay, can you please repeat
Show
your...
me, like,
okay.
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, there's showing there's a $60 overpayment, right? Could you apply it to a different, show us applying it to a different invoice?
Yep, so you click on allocate and then you can take that $60 available funds and apply it to any invoice you want to apply
okay.
to. Right.
Okay, just like we usually do.
Yeah,
right.
right.
Now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But in the case if the client is just paying you the amount that was invoiced, then you don't have to do the allocation.
Right. And this money will automatically go into a bank account or?
Right. So the money goes from your LawPay account, which is going to be connected to your bank account, and the money gets into your, from LawPay to bank account.
Yep, the money normally posts within 2 business days.
I do have a question about the bank accounts. How we have multiple, like we work in 5 states. We have bank accounts for each state. Is there a number of bank accounts? How do we set those up based on where the client, case is?
Oh, sure. And we've seen that in situations where we have attorneys that are practicing in multiple states and they have a trust account for each state. And so we have the ability to support multiple accounts within LawPay, and that way you're able to select, for example, if you were going in to run a charge, you could run a charge and direct part of the money into your Texas trust account, for example, and then you could go in and select a different account. You could run another transaction and direct that money into your Oklahoma trust. So we certainly can support that kind of a setup.
Great. And I'm getting some questions on the chat. I'm just going to answer those. One question was, if a client pays using LawPay, will QuickBooks Sync do the same thing with the QuickBooks syncing process? And yes, the payment is treated the same way as any other payment entered manually. So that was one question. I guess the other question is, can LawPay work if we don't email invoices via TimeSolv or without giving access to the invoice? In that case, you will have to take the money over the phone and make that entry yourself. So that's something, you can do. And then the third sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if I could just jump in for a moment. We have a couple options on the LawPay side. We're looking at the LawPay portal right now. You can click on the new charge button, and that will pull up your options for charging. So you could run an invoice payment. If you have multiple accounts, you could select between your trust accounts here. And so all you would need to do is click on the page itself, and you can manually type that information in. We have folks that add this URL link to their website or share it in an email, maybe to collect a one-off payment is certainly an option, but then those payments are happening outside of the TimeSolv system, so you'll need to go back in and manually update it. But we do have ways that you can share pages and process payments that if they come into the office, you can easily log in and run a payment there at the front desk.
Are those manual payments more expensive than if the client just logs on and pays them themselves?
So all the payments are being manually typed in, so they're treated the same. So whether they happen on the website or they're manually being typed in by an administrator at the front desk, keyed-in transactions are considered a slightly higher risk. If you are currently taking credit cards, you may be familiar with the differences in the pricing. The LawPay program is really designed for how attorneys take payments. And so we look at all of those keyed-in transactions the same, and the pricing is treated the same.
So they're going to be more than the swipes, right?
Well, our system does have the ability to collect swipes at the front reception desk, but our processing rate is 1.95% on keyed-in transactions, and that's what we see. Probably 70, 80% of the transactions coming through are coming in via an invoicing or practice management software that's being typed in, or attorneys are taking payments over the telephone from clients. So we typically see the majority of our clients processing keyed in transactions. And so our program pricing is designed to get you the best pricing for those kinds of charges.
Yeah, which is again for normal credit cards, I guess, not the American Express, is 1.95%, which is relatively very competitive. One other question I have on the chat is how much is the LawPay fee after the first 3 months? So maybe Janelle, if you can talk about that.
Absolutely. So we have 3 different programs that we offer to our law firms. If you've never taken credit cards before, we have our intro program. It's $5 a month. It gives you the ability to take credit cards. For the first time, it's really designed for firms that are processing less than $2,500 a month in credit card transactions. We also have our standard program, which gives you the ability to deposit into one account that can be either the trust or the operating account. And then our trust plan gives you the ability to deposit transactions into both your trust and your operating account. And so the standard plan is $15 a month. The trust plan is $20 a month. And so that gives you a lot of options as far as taking credit card transactions and handling your deposits on the back end of the process.
Would we
make
also
it easy.
Would we also have merchant charges from American Express? Am I going to get a bill from you and American Express and Visa, or just you and you handle all that?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. We actually handle all the credit card processing fees for all the card brands. So Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and American Express. So let's say you were to process a $5,000 trust payment. We would deposit the full $5,000 into the IOLTA account, and any subsequent credit card processing fees would be deducted out of the operating account at the end of the month. And that's one of the reasons the LawPay program is different, is that we give the ability to deposit trust funds, and we deposit the full dollar amount into the IOLTA account while deducting fees out of the operating, making sure you keep that trust account intact and you stay in compliance.
So it's more than just 15 or 20. There's also the merchant charges. Is that correct?
Well, correct. So 15 to 20 is the monthly fee for the program. And then you also incur processing fees depending on the amount of the transactions you take within a given month.
Yeah, which is again, except for American Express, it's 1.95% and 20 cents per transaction. I'm just looking at on the website. So I guess the question is everybody just billed through LawPay, or are they getting separate bills from the merchant processing? I think that was the question.
Yes, and LawPay is handling all that billing, even for American Express. So you will get one deposit that carries all card brands in it. So if you ran $1,000 in Visa and $1,000 in American Express, we'll send a $2,000 deposit into your operating account, and then any fees associated with those transactions will be deducted out at the end of the month in a lump sum.
Don't the rates change by the type of card, like rewards card, corporate card, international card?
We do have 2 different tiers. The 1.95% is for personal debit and credit cards. If you are taking specialty cards such as corporate cards, international cards, keyed in rewards cards, this would go to our 2.95%, our specialty card rate. And so it's either one or the other.
Okay, I guess just to make sure I'm respecting your time, I think let's just take maybe 1 or 2 more questions, and then we'll conclude. And any other questions here?
I had a question.
What about your reports on the LawPay side? Could I pull up a report, give me everything that's been deposited, or give me all the American Express payments or all the ACT payments for the month?
Yes. So if you'll click on the reporting tab, so on our reporting, we have monthly deposits, or for those of you that like to go in the next day and do daily reconciliation, we have a daily deposit report. But you can go in and you can view transactions by a custom date range. You can view based on a particular account. So if you're taking credit cards or you're taking ACH, you can select between the two accounts if there's particular transactions you want to look at. Also on our transaction tab, Raja, if you could click on that for me, we have a Google free search. So if you need to administer your transactions, maybe you're looking for a particular dollar amount, a particular client, you can type into our search terms and you can view any transactions with that dollar amount in it. So the reporting is very flexible on our side. If we could go back to the reporting tab real quick, we'll take a look at the monthly deposit report. If you'll put in the month September, we've got some good transaction activity here on the account. In September, perfect, and click Run. So this gives you a tabular report that's showing you by date what's happening on the account. And then, of course, you have your breakdown by card type. So you can see your American Express transactions, Discover, MasterCard, and then you can see a total dollar amount, which should line up directly with your bank statement since we're depositing the entire dollar amount together. So you can easily just, quick glance at your bank statement, make sure all the money came through, and then if you need further details, you can view those either in TimeSolv or in LawPay.
All right, one final question.
What about statements? If you email a statement to a client, can they pay the same way?
So the question is, can statements be sent right now? I guess we have not done that part, but that will be coming out soon. Another question I got on the chat here: when will the integration happen? It has been implemented. We have two law firms for sure that I know of that are working on it. So it is available. In terms of having the ability to just send out a statement, we are looking at doing that. That's something came up, recently, so we're trying to address that. But at this point, you can just go to as many invoices as you need to and send them out, I guess. And as part of that invoice, we usually show the balance also. So a client may not get just a statement and they can get an invoice, but that invoice would tell them once they are on the portal that they have some unpaid invoices. But good question. Anything else before we conclude?
Yeah, does the client need to have a password and login information? I'm just thinking if we're using other law practice management software and they have to have that password and login, are they going to need two now?
So I guess first question in terms of are they required to have a login ID or password? The answer is it's your choice. I mean, as the example I used, I did not require a password to be specified. Okay, so you can bypass the password, and all they have to do is they just go to the email, and when they click on it, they'll go to that portal without requiring any password. Okay, but you can have them, specify. I mean, you can require a password also when you set them up in TimeSolv. In terms of having a separate password, I guess I don't see the clients are not accessing LawPay directly. They are going through TimeSolv portal. So if you're using any other practice management system, access to TimeSolv is separate from any other system. So the password is, again, is an option that you can require or not require when you set up your client. Okay, any other final questions? I would hate to leave anybody with questions out there. And by the way, there is no extra charge from the TimeSolv perspective, for using this service. We're not charging you anything for it. The portal and all that capability is available to, at no charge. Okay, any other questions? I guess thanks for attending, and again, we are looking forward to serving you more effectively, and we would really like to see that you can sign up
Can you hear
and
me?
try this out.
Okay.
Question? Sorry.
Yes. If you already have LawPay, will it just go forward?
There'll need to
Okay.
be some steps that you take in order to integrate and help the two systems talk to one another, but we can walk you through that over the telephone. But
Okay.
you got to create a super secret password, is what I call it, and then program that information into TimeSolv, and then our two programs will know that it's okay to talk. I'm sure Raja has.
Okay, but I need to set up separately.
Yeah, but it's very simple. I mean, if you go onto TimeSolv support website, which is timesolv.com/help, and search for portal, and if you find this part, it talks about how do you link the two together. All you have to do is log into your LawPay. It'll give you a special secret key which we have blocked out here, and you paste that into TimeSolv's payments under payment settings, and then the two systems get connected.
Okay, and at that point, like reoccurring payments that I already have set up, would they then be when that charge goes through, would it go out of my TimeSolv?
Right, they would automatically get deposited into TimeSolv. Yes, once you have the accounts configured, to say, okay, when this type of account pays, then you want the money to go into the operating account, and similarly, you can set up, I guess, multiple accounts to map to TimeSolv.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody. We are here to serve your needs and are excited to provide you this additional capability, and let us know how we can, make it happen for you. So thanks for attending, and have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.